Hi, and welcome to Knitting Downsized. My name is Katie, and this is a podcast about knitting, about living in a camper with a family of 4 and our little doggy, and probably a lot about our family and some of the expeditions and adventures that we get up to. So thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for watching. It's been about 3 weeks since I podcasted. Whole lot has happened. Unfortunately, a lot of craziness has happened. So I went to podcast the first week, and the kiddos were out of school, and it was just crazy. There was just no way that I could podcast because I was exhausted with the kids being out of school, and because I work third shift. It's very difficult when the kids are out of school because then I don't really get to sleep during the day like I would like. I get a couple naps here and there, and when Kevin gets home, I get several hours, but that's about it when the kids are out of school. So, and then the second week, week before, Clay started us out with the stomach flu. And because we live in a camper, it is almost impossible to quarantine. We could quarantine and we could have put Clay in his room, but Fiona is 3 and she doesn't understand the concept of quarantining and that you don't want to pass germs around just yet. And so actually I think she had it at the same time that Clay had it, because she started in on it about 8 hours after Clay did. And then Kevin was 2 days later. And then I had, I think, full-on flu. I had a fever for 3 days, and then the stomach part for about 2 days. So it was a really rough week. It was pretty crazy. And then last week, it was Kevin's birthday, and we surprised him with a weekend trip. We are very close to Great Wolf Lodge, which is a really cool water park hotel. So the hotel has a water park. It has a giant water park, actually, that's inside, and it has laser tag, mini bowling, a movie theater, several restaurants. You could literally stay a whole weekend and not leave the hotel. It has so many activities. My kids love their arcade. We played arcade games 2 nights in a row, and it was just a really, really fun place to go. If you guys have time, they're all over. Great Wolf Lodges are, and they're currently doing a pretty good discount, so check them out. I think it's like 40% off if you book 90 days in advance. Of course, we never book that far in advance, but I think there was still like a 30% off special, so it was actually pretty good, because you get, I think it ends up being like, I think it was a little over $200 a night, but that includes your water park tickets and everything, and the food was actually really reasonable as well, considering it was theme park food. They actually had pretty healthy options, and it wasn't crazy expensive if you decided to stay, and eat in the resort. So highly recommend Great Wolf Lodge. So that is kind of what we've been up to. It's been absolutely crazy, and I wanted to podcast last week, but we ended up leaving on Thursday, and I didn't have time because I was packing and getting everybody ready to go, and it was just kind of a crazy day. So, but I hope you guys are still sticking in and still watching. I got my hair cut. I got all that crazy blonde stuff off. So this is my actual haircut color. It's crazy that I am in my late 30s and have salt and pepper hair. Thanks, genetics. My brother who is 2 years younger than I am, so we're both mid-30s, and my brother, who is 6'5", by the way, I got the short, stumpy gene. My brother is 6'5" and skinny. It's crazy. I look up to my little brother, but he was salt and pepper in his mid-20s. So he has a baby face though, so he was very excited about it because he stopped getting carded at bars and restaurants and stuff because he had salt and pepper hair. So he wears it very proudly. Once again, thanks genetics. Both my parents grayed pretty early. So yeah, and Kevin will never gray because both his parents had their original hair color. Kevin's mom is actually a redhead. So they never gray. Sucks. So let's get into some knitting. So I wanted to tell you guys, there was 2 winners from last week. Lauren, you got in touch with me, and because of the craziness, I didn't want to send you a package with stomach flu, so I am sending it out tomorrow to you. I'm really sorry. I just got way behind on that. But if you will check my last podcast, I had another winner and I don't have it with me, and she hasn't gotten in touch with me. So if you'll check my last podcast, I actually put the winners in the information about the video. If you are my second winner, if you'll get in touch with me, I'd really love to send you the package out. If I don't hear from you by next podcast, I'm going to draw again for someone else. So, and we'll do a new prompt down below that I'll draw from. So I've done a lot of knitting. Actually. The week of the stomach flu, I didn't do any because I could barely hold my head above water, it felt like. But this last week and then the week right after New Year's, I did a heck of a lot of knitting. First off, I finally finished my iris. It is out of the Ready Set Raglan book by Pom Pom. Highly recommend this book. It has so much more information other than just patterns. It is pretty awesome. Really great like sweater techniques and how to adjust your sweaters and stuff like that. I really, really like this book. I highly recommend it. This is I'm saying iris because it looks like iris to me. It might not be iris, but it looks like iris to me. So this is the very first pattern in Ready Set Raglan. So it's a very super basic raglan sweater. I'm assuming they put it at the beginning because it is very basic. I love a raglan. I absolutely love a raglan. To me, the increases, the way that they're done, it just is kind of brainless, and it lets me make a garment without having to put a whole lot of brain power into it. You'll see here in just a minute, I really enjoy having 2 projects on, one that's kind of brainless and then another one that, if I have a little bit of time without the kids around, or if they're behaving and not going absolutely berserk and I have a few minutes, I can work on that as well. So this is my iris. Now remember, this is the Malabrigo Rios that I purchased for the Seeing Spots vest by Afifa Saeed. I was in that cowl and I ended up not liking it. Kevin kind of ruined it for me. He said it looked like chocolate chip, like a chocolate chip vest. So I pulled it apart and I repurposed it into this sweater, and I added 1 skein of mauve to it, which in the end, it actually was perfect because I needed the extra length that 1 skein made. I was very close to the end of both skeins, or of both colors. I think I had like maybe 20 grams of the brown left, and then I think probably the same in the mustard, and it just would not have been enough because I used almost the whole skein of the mauve as well. So this is my iris. So I love that it's color blocked. I really, really like that. Golly, y'all see how busty I am. So I did a split hem. Hopefully you guys can see. I did the split hem, and I did it shorter in the front than in the back. I didn't add any short rows or anything to it. I just made it longer. And I used like the mauve. And now to me, it looks like Neapolitan ice cream. So I call it my Neapolitan sweater, but I absolutely love it. It is so comfortable. I haven't blocked it. We live in a camper, so it's really difficult for me to block things and to have a surface that is untouched for however many hours that it takes to dry a sweater. there's very little space that is untouched during the day with the kids and the dog. So I usually don't really block them unless there's like lace, like my ranunculus or something like, or my love note. I actually blocked my love note in our hotel room where we were at overnight, so in front of the heater. But I don't really block a whole lot. But this turned out really great. This is all Malabrio Rios. This is a color that I won in the knit along, and I forgot what color it is, and I don't have the tag, I'm sorry, but this is I believe the cocoa. It's a dark brown, and this is Frank Ochre. Frank Ochre is one of my favorite colors of Malabrio Rios. It looks super weird and pukey here, but it is a very, very good mustard, and mustard is like my favorite color to knit. So I did do, I think, one major change to the pattern. So the pattern has different necklines that you can do, and the split hem, I believe, is in the pattern as well. The only thing I did is, I don't know if you can tell, I did a twisted rib. I really like the look, and especially in a worsted weight. So I did twisted rib on everything. I like the way that it looks. It kind of, especially on a plain sweater like this, it adds a little bit of, I guess, interest or texture, whereas like normal ribbing is great, but this adds a little bit of funky texture to it, and I really, really, really like how it turned out. So I did the sleeves long enough, y'all. They're not bracelet or 3/4. So I did a different technique too that I don't really like. As far as this was on my own. I thought I could do a slip knit for my decreases, and because this is like a solid or a very slightly variegated, you can really see my decreases, and I'm not a fan. I should have gone back and fixed them and just did a knit two together, but I thought like maybe the slip knit wouldn't be as noticeable. Maybe once I block it, it won't be as bad. So, but I love it otherwise. It's so comfortable and just a really nice sweater. I love it. I'm so glad that I ripped out the vest and turned it into this, because I can't recommend this pattern enough and the yarn enough. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I finished this, and while we were in the hotel, I whipped up a quick little hat. We know someone that is expecting, and I don't know the gender yet, but I wanted to get a head start, and so I just whipped up a quick hat. This is Swamp Bunny. So see, this is very yellow. This is like bright yellow, and this is like the mustard. So I whipped up a quick hat. The baby isn't due until like May, June, and it doesn't really start getting cold here until like October. So I made kind of a bigger hat. I know it looks huge, but the baby will be like 6 months by the time that they probably wear it. So I wanted to make it size appropriate. So just a quick, I think I did, I don't know. I actually don't know, but I did a really, really long brim. I like doing long folded brims with baby hats, and I've learned this just from my experience with my kids, because you can wear it longer. So you can fold the brim up when they're 6 months, but they can wear it up to like a year or even sometimes 2 years, because you have this really awesome like stretchy brim that adds a lot of depth to your hat. So it's kind of, you can kind of grow with it a little bit, or they can grow with it a little bit. So that's that. And then I also started a flax. I had some leftover yarn from my journey into 4 Christmas sweaters. So I had some leftover Cascade 220, and this is the green tea colorway. So I had a whole skein and then about half a skein left, and so I started, that looks really tiny, I started a 6-month flax to go, a 6 to 12 month flax by Tin Can Knits to go with the hat. So that way I've got a couple of kind of generic stuff, and then when I find out the sex of the baby. If they find out the sex of the baby, then I might do more colors that lean to that sex of the baby, or maybe that go with their theme. Yeah, I'll probably do that. This couple has been really, really good to us, and they are just super sweet, and I think they are very knit-worthy. So I'm super excited for them. So that's a couple projects that I've been doing. I finished my Jessie made outline tee. So I used Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia in the, I think it's light gray, or it's a light gray color. I finished it the other night on my lunch break at work, and I am super duper happy with it. The Juniper Moon Patagonia is very light, and I think so the Juniper Moon Patagonia is a DK. I think it leans more towards like a sport. But I think you could, I have knit it as a DK, but it tends, in my opinion, whenever I knit it, it seems very thin for a DK, or maybe it's not, because of the way it's spun, maybe it's not as like thick like a worsted spun, so in my mind it's thinner. Maybe that's because it's so light. Maybe I'm thinking that it's that. But the pattern, the outline tee by Jessie Made, is actually in fingering weight. So I sized the needles up, and then I sized the pattern way down. So I think I ended up doing the second-ish size, when I normally would have done, I think, the 5th size. So I'm super happy with it. I did mess up in one spot, and I'll show you that, because I think everybody should be transparent. Not every knitter is perfect. So I do want to show you. I absolutely love this. I think it's going to be great over a dress. And if you can, I'm gonna get closer. If you can see, there's some slip stitches, or not slip, drop stitches that make this really awesome detail that goes all the way around, and even on the back. So I really, really like it. It is very boxy and cropped. So this is about how it fits on me. But I really like it. It's very light. I think in the end, I only used like 2 skeins of Juniper Moon. The skeins are pretty, I guess not beefy, but they're pretty, I think it's like 300 yards or something. So, but I only used 2 skeins of it. So, if you did the same thing as me, if you have a couple skeins and wanted to, do it in DK, I tried to do it in, I have some really cool Noro, and it's in like some fun like summer colors, and it's like not a bulky, it's probably like a Aran, and I tried to size up or to size down the pattern enough, and it just wasn't enough for me and my gauge to do the pattern, because I think I did like the first size maybe, or maybe I messed up, and it was huge. It was huge. It was twice as big as this. It was, and this is very large. This probably has like 10 inches of positive ease in it, 8 to 10 inches of positive ease, which it's meant to have a good amount of ease to it, but that it was maybe like 20 to 24 inches of positive ease. So I ended up ripping it out, and I was really upset with myself, because I got all the way up to the sleeves when I realized how big it was, and I kept telling myself like, it's not too big, Katie, it's not too big, just keep going. I should have known it was way too big. It was very obvious that it was way too big. So I can't wait to work with a Noro though, because it's super fun springy colors. Hopefully we'll have a cold Easter and I can wear a cute sweater. Who knows? So this is the one. So I wanted to show you this. Jessie Made in the pattern tells you this as well. She tells you to keep track, or to follow her stitch count directions, because the slip stitches will get messed up. So she has a really cool technique to where your slip stitches stop before your ribbing. So your ribbing just continues even though you've slipped, I keep saying slip stitches, I'm sorry, drop stitches. So your drop stitches stop and then your ribbing continues. So it's a really cool technique. And if you're not careful, you'll mess up and you'll just continue to slip or drop all the way down. So my count was off. So I was supposed to be, I don't know if you see, I was supposed to be here and I ended up there. So, but I'm not gonna go back and fix it. I really like the sweater. I like how it looks. I could probably get a crochet hook and fix it and then maybe felt like the ends, because this is such woolly wool. I could probably felt it with like a needle felting tool to get it to not drop any further. Like I could fix this, but it doesn't bother me. It looks cool and I like it. So highly recommend this pattern. Jessie made. It would make a very good, and this is what I'm using it for, like over a tunic or a dress. I think it would make a really great layering piece. So Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia, also recommend. I made my brick something sweater by West Knits out of Juniper Moon as well, and I can't say enough about it. It's such affordable, really good yarn that has really good color range as well. So I really like them. Alrighty, on to my next whip that I just started last night. I kind of wanted, I was going through my yarn and trying to figure out what I wanted to knit next, and I was having a difficult time because I want to start another garment. I do have my merino, I think it's merino, that is super heavy color work that I've got like a couple more rows of 3-color knitting that I need to finish. And so I don't really want to start another colorwork sweater until I finish that, because it's so beautiful and I'm so close to being done with the 3-color part to where it's easy from there on. I just need to like buckle down and finish it, but it's very brain heavy. And so it's difficult for me to kind of concentrate on that. So I picked up a colorwork hat. So first off, this is the book that Kevin got me for Christmas, or purchased for me for Christmas, The Art of Knitting Hats. And there are 30 hats in this book that they're all colorwork. There's no cables. I believe it's all chunky or worsted weight hats. And she's given you the pattern, the colorwork charts, really super awesome. I like this book. I think it would be a great book just to pick up and do a hat in between projects, because it is all worsted, and she has hats that are like 2 colors all the way up to 4 or 5. So this hat that I'm working on is the Queen of Hearts hat, because it's almost Valentine. So I'm doing this hat. I'm not doing the folded brim. I don't have enough. So I am doing this hat with scraps, because you need so little to do like all the different motifs. And I didn't realize this is actually white. It looks all pink, but this is actually white, and I'm doing mine all pink. So this section right here, these little triangles, are white with the dark brown, and this up here is white. But I'm doing it all pink because I think Fiona is actually going to get this hat. So, because it's super cute. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do this pom-pom, because that is an awesome pom-pom, and it complements the hat so well. So the Queen of Hearts hat by Courtney Flynn. I started it last night, and I'm using my leftovers from this sweater, and I just got to the hearts. So this is the cocoa, this is the pink, and this color I'll show you, is kind of a bronzy, pinky red. It was a a Madeline-Tosh, I think a second, when they had some seconds that they did. And it's a really good, it almost looks like cedar wood. It's such a really cool color. So I'm doing the hearts out of this because it's kind of reddy brown. And then I'm doing the crowns out of the Frank Ochre. So this is my color palette. If I can find the brown. This is my color palette. See, this Frank Ochre looks really weird. And it, no matter how I put it, it's very mustard, y'all. So I'm super excited about it. It's an easy hat. Her directions are amazing and super easy. If you're getting into colored work knitting and you like hats, highly recommend this pattern, this book. Kevin purchased it for me off Amazon. So, and it's pretty affordable, especially for 30 different hat patterns. So I wanted to show you another one that I think I'm going to make. We are a huge fan of Halloween here. So I think she's got a hat for lots of the holidays, and I kind of reviewed this book when I received it, but she's just got some really cool hat patterns, and they're all color work. Like this one's really pretty too. So highly recommend this book. So that's that. I'm working on that. Hopefully I'll have that done in the next day or so, and I can figure out that really cool pom-pom. Super excited about that. So I am still working on my socks for the month of January, and I haven't got very far. This shows you how much I am not a fan of fingering weight yarn and fingering weight knitting. So I think my next pair of socks, I am gonna finish these. This is Stranded Dye Works, and it was the colorway that Jude did for COVID. It was during COVID, and it's just a really cool, bright, fun colorway. So I'm loving it. It's just, whenever I have a few minutes, I'll do a few rows. I'm not really pushing myself. My next pair of socks are definitely going to be DK socks though, because I really enjoy faster knitting. I am doing a magic heel. Hopefully you guys can see that. I don't think I've shown you my magic heel socks, and I wanted to show you the my magic heel socks that I made that made me fall in love with the magic heel. You can Google, I don't remember who came up with the magic heel pattern, but if you just Google magic heel, I think it's like $1 or something. It's very inexpensive for the pattern, and once you have it, I believe you could adapt it to any weight of yarn, you know, that you wanted to, which is what I'm doing. These are my first full pair of socks, and it's in the opal. It's the 8-ply. I did like weird rounded toes. Can you tell these are my very first pair of socks? So it's kind of a Christmassy colorway. I love how opal does this, and it self patterns. I think that's really cool. This is my first ever kind of self-striping as well that I've ever had, even with a hat, and it is very true what they say about you just want to get to the next section, and it makes it so much easier. So I love this yarn as well. It's the opal 8-ply. It's a little bit difficult to find, at least where I am here in Western North Carolina. And I even tried to find it online, and it's a little bit difficult because there are so many different varieties of opal. I think it was difficult for me to kind of weed out what I was looking for. So I love this yarn. I have washed and dried these socks, washed and dried now, probably 20 or 30 times. Like, these have been, sorry, there's a string. These have been heavily used. So there's my magic heel. The only thing I wish I would have made was this long, like the foot of the heel. The magic heel is supposed to be done this long. I have a pretty big foot. I wear a size 41 or a size 10. So I have a pretty big foot, and I wish I would have done more right here. And I had plenty of yarn to do it. So, and I did a really long leg. Look how long the leg is on that. And I'm already... So these are going to be like, they're not going to be as tall socks. But these I use a lot. I wear around the house because the camper, when it gets cold, sometimes the floor gets cold. Or I'll wear my like sandals when I go do the laundry, because we have a laundry center. When I go do the laundry, I'll just wear these with my sandals. So I wear them a heck of a lot. And they haven't snagged. I have another skein of this yarn, and it's in a really weird colorway, but it was like the only one that I could find, and I have another skein of it, and I'm gonna definitely make another pair because they're just awesome. I've worn them in my work boots. Highly recommend that yarn. It's the Opal 8-ply, I believe. So it's almost maybe it is a DK worsted. I really, really like that. So I'm working on these, and I'm just plugging away. Eventually they will be done. So I'm gonna do this for the amount that she recommends. That's like kind of a main part of the pattern, so I don't want to say, but definitely look it up. It's worth a couple of bucks for the heel to give you an idea on how to do it, especially if you haven't made a pair of socks before. I've made multiple single socks, and the heel just gets me every time, and I don't know why. I can't get past the heel for some reason. And maybe because you have to count and really pay attention to where you're at. I don't know, but I really like it. So I think that's about it, guys. It seems like I did a lot. I felt like I did a lot more knitting than it looks like. Yeah, I think that's about it today. I wanted to show you my preferred needles. You probably see them in every single one of my projects that I show you guys. I use the ChiaoGoo's. I purchased, or actually Kevin a couple years ago purchased the interchangeable set. I had already purchased probably like 4 or 5 different singles. So I highly recommend these. I want to get the bamboo ones that they just came out with, but they look so hard to get. I tried to get them, and it looks like as soon as they come into stores that they are gone super quick. So I just want to try them. Some projects, especially like this yarn, it has so much lanolin in it that this yarn combined with a metal needle, it's like slick. And I think if I had maybe like a wooden needle to work with, it would help. I didn't lose any stitches, but it was just so slick that I was really nervous about knitting with it. So, and I think it affects my gauge a little bit. So I'm on the hunt for those. I wanted to reach out to you guys and see if any of you have purchased an interchangeable needle case. I need a new case. This one, the zipper it's pretty